welcome to another episode of Career Conversations. Today we have the pleasure of interviewing Benedict McDonagh. He's got 19 years experience in the industry. He started his career at Betfair back in 2005 and is now the Director of Entain Studios at Entain. Many of you might also know Ben as the co-founder and CEO of Green Jade Games back in the day. Welcome, Ben. Thank you for doing the interview with us.
Thank you. Delighted. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, so let's dive right in. Ben, can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself, your current role, and Entain, the company you work for?
Yeah, absolutely. I generally characterize myself by talking about my family first. So I'm a father of four, happily married, living in Malta, Maltese wife. I came here for 2006, so a little less than a year after I started in the industry, and I've been here for most of my career as well. So, yeah, very much someone who's passionate about the iGaming industry and working, employment and work within this space. I do everything I can to encourage and foster good working environments. Because working in the area I work in, which is product, you see the results through people enjoying their jobs. The customers get to enjoy a much better product. So, yeah, I'm currently working with Entain, the Entain Group. So I'm Director of Entain Studios. It's three in-house studios with a little over 100 people spread over two key locations. We have
Wow.
our own in-house platform. We build all content goes to our own in-house brands. So yeah, the Entain Group is a bit of a powerhouse operating multiple regulated markets across the globe. So really exciting job.
Could you tell us a bit about how you got started working in the gambling industry?
Yeah, absolutely. It kind of fell into the industry really. I've been living in Australia on a working visa there, and when I came back to the UK, I needed a job. My previous career within the UK had been running retail shops, and quite frankly, the money you make managing someone else's shops isn't great. So I was keen to find another path, and one of my friends invited me to join Betfair, go and apply there as a customer service agent. And as you mentioned, that's where I started my career. And I think that was a very lucky landing place. Betfair had, and I assume still has, an incredible culture of affording internal colleagues opportunities for growth and taking on greater responsibility. So it became the very best learning ground I could have hoped for in the industry at the time. I grew with Betfair very much over the 9 years I was there. When I was within Betfair, I was very lucky to have 8 different job titles in 9 years. So I was regularly trying to take on different responsibilities, learning other roles within the space that I had access to. So, starting within customer operations, then managing outbound calling teams, international language teams, and then sort of moved into product within originally the space of customer operations, so web self-service tools, trying to find answers without getting through to customer services. But that led me into product in gaming, and I was really lucky to start working on an arcade product with Stuart Banks. And we really had a lot of fun building very much customer-centric products. And that actually, my role within that product led me to move across a few different waters, across to Ireland. So I moved to Dublin to work for PokerStars. So PokerStars back in 2013, they were looking to launch their own casino. And I got to be part of the founding team there. So it was a huge experience in being part of a very large successful business that wanted to diversify their own portfolio. And navigating those internal waters was a huge learning opportunity, but also being part of that massive early success as well was really exciting. And then, we can talk about it. Moving internally with PokerStars, I moved into a biz dev role. Despite being very passionate about products, I I don't think I drew the short straw. I was the most natural person to move into that role because I had the relationships with iGaming suppliers.
Yeah,
But what I didn't realize is the nuance of that role just didn't play to my sensibilities. Working on contracts, doing tough negotiations, that's not what I enjoy.
yeah,
And I ended up, really falling out of love with almost with iGaming, and certainly with that role. So I went looking to advance my career again. I wanted to stay in Ireland. My family had settled there really nicely with fantastic friends. Um, but it wasn't to be. I couldn't find another job that I liked in Ireland. So we actually ended up coming back to Malta in 2017 to work for Mr. Green. And the reason I wanted to work for Mr. Green, principally there was an old colleague, Antoine Bonello, there. I was going to have an opportunity to work with him again, someone I really respected. But Mr. Green had been one of those casino brands that I put consistently into presentations on, brands that understand how to create a narrative and how to talk
mhm,
consistently to customers. So it was one that I really enjoyed the external look of, and going into that business, I had an opportunity to understand, how did they create that? How did they choose to use their branding? And, I was forget my title there, but it's head of casino portfolio or something like that. So I had an opportunity to build a team as well and bring in some great people to support me on that journey and to develop, those that were there as well. Um, I can go on and that brought me straight into co-founding a studio. The CEO at Mr. Green at the time was a incredible fellow, very good friend of mine now, Jesper Scherbrink. And Jesper had this harebrained idea of allowing customers to modify the results of a spin after the reels have landed, to create skill and try and improve a
yeah.
position using a result. And, at the time, he wouldn't hear no. He just wanted to find other ways of trying to solve this problem that no one was really asking to be solved. And he really wanted to incorporate skill into gaming and gambling. So every Wednesday or Thursday night after work, we used to sit on these calls with these guys in San Francisco, trying to come up with a proof of concept initially. And that actually evolved into building an entire platform because no one's technology at the time allowed such a interaction within the game. So we actually
Yeah,
had to
that's
build
right.
that technology, allow people to make poor decisions, So
Mm.
first product we built was a game called Hammer of Fortune. And it allowed customers to knock out symbols to realign loot chests to trigger a bonus round. But if you didn't do that correctly, the money you could have won just went straight back into the game for someone else to win later. And that didn't exist
Yeah,
in the space. So we had a lot of firsts to overcome before we could even really understand whether there was a market for such a product. In that same game, we created a narrative so customers could finish a story, after 1,450 spins, you delivered and played the entire story. So we even found a methodology of increasing number of game rounds. So that being part of that co-founder that business, which when William Hill came in and acquired Mr. Green, it gave us an opportunity to lead a managed buyout of the business from that group. William Hill retained an investment in the company. We sought external investment and we kept growing. We had 50 people working at Mr. Green at our peak, and being the CEO of that business, having never founded a company before, having never built a studio before, was an incredible opportunity afforded to me. And I take, I think there's an awful lot of luck in everyone's careers, successful careers, but I don't downplay how much luck came into that. Falling out of love with my role at PokerStars Casino, not finding another role in the country, moving across the water again all the way back to Malta, finding Jesper, and being a part of that co-founding was incredible. Unfortunately, I wrote about it, a couple of posts on LinkedIn. Green Jade Games didn't have that longevity. We got a lot of content out in 5 years, but we never found that product market fit, which was critical to our ongoing success. So
yeah,
unfortunately, we shut down the business a couple of years ago. No regrets, obviously massive disappointment, no regrets. And I landed a really good role at Paraplay working with their in-house studio there called Wizard Games. And to talk a little bit about that one, what I really enjoyed about that job is we already had a very successful studio regularly building content. We never missed a deadline. What I wanted to invest more in was developing the people that were there and building a new team, for marketing the content, operationalizing the content, making sure we got it out into all markets. It's a lot more about the efficiencies, probably less about the creativity than in that one. We did bring in new game designers, which helped elevate the content. And I love checking back in on that studio, seeing what they're producing now. Really proud of the guys that are there. But I didn't last long. I think hopefully we'll get an opportunity to talk about career hopping later. But one of the things that surprised me is 11 months into that role, I was off again. And it was entirely opportunistic. Entain came, and I was not going to say no. As soon as I learned what the opportunity was, the size of the role, the problems they were trying to solve, which was I'm very much a problem solver, or I pretend I try and play as one. I was off. There wasn't much they could say to keep me there. So yeah, nearly coming up to a year now. We're 9 months in. I moved to Entain to become the director of Entain Studios, and haven't looked back since. Been massively enjoying what we're doing now.